Hi, I'm Melissa Stevens, and you're joining me here today on the Fab15 for the show called Set the Table, where we'll be using silverware as a way to create design and line on our paintings. Thanks for joining me.
All right, let's get started. Here is the array of all of our place settings. I'm sure you could get more extravagant if you're a fine diner and wanted to include, I don't know, a large soup spoon or a petite dessert fork or something like that. But this is what we're going to do. We've got the big fork, the little fork, the knife, and the spoon. We're going to create line and pattern with only these tools. Let's go. Here we go. So let's go ahead and get started with this painting. And we're going to start with my favorite tool, which I discuss in my creative carving, and that is the knife. The knife has this really beautiful serrated edge to it, which can create really beautiful cross-hatching and line. And I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do that. So you can just do the lines like this. And you can see I'm getting some shavings up on the edge of the knife. Go ahead and get rid of those so I don't get bogged down. So that's just line. And then you can also create beautiful cross-hatching by just changing the direction of your scraping. And this isn't going to show up really very good until I add my oil stick to it so you can see it. I'm going to go ahead and fill that line with RNF oil stick. This is a graphite gray. It's one of my favorites. And the oil stick is part oil paint and part encaustic medium. So it works really well with the encaustic paintings. I'm going to see this line pop up immediately. So you'll see the oil stick will get pushed down into the carved area that I've created on the surface of the painting. And then once I'm done with that, I can just use a paper towel to wipe it off. And you're left with this beautiful, beautiful line. A little bit of a stickiness issue there. Just put a little bit of baby oil on your paper towel. Get a clean part of the paper towel, put a little bit of baby oil. Vegetable oil works as well. Coconut oil, any of those. And you'll get all of your excess paint off of there. Now it looks like I could have gone a little deeper with some of my cross-hatching lines. There you go. But you get the idea. It's no mystery, it is a knife, either a metal or a plastic knife. I almost like plastic knives better. They're slightly smaller than this. This is pretty big, my hands are small, and it has a little bit of, you can add a little curvature to it by bending it. So that is the knife. Now let's go ahead and look at the spoon. The metal spoon is really great for creating texture by either heating the paint on your painting or heating the spoon itself and just doing this kind of tacky pressing and lifting motion. I'm going to go ahead and turn this down and just get a little bit of heat going. I'm going to go ahead and heat my spoon and heat my paint just a little bit first. Okay, there we go. We're getting a little. The problem with continuing to heat your paint is that you'll lose what you just put down. So if you heat your spoon and then you could maybe start by heating your paint first and then after that go to heating the back side of your spoon. I don't worry too much about burning the paint that I already have on the back side of my spoon because it's so quick, and I'm using a lower heat torch as well, and I'm not burning and burning and burning on the back side. So this creates almost like a bubble pattern, which I really I think it's super cool. It's a very subtle pattern, and you could just as easily leave it as is on the surface of your painting without filling it. It's very subtle, but like if I had more contrasting colors, it might have gone down a couple of layers and revealed something underneath that would be a surprise. Otherwise, once this cools, I can go ahead and fill it. I'm going to wait just a little bit because it's still rather warm. So the other way that I can use the spoon, which is very hot right now as well, so I'll have to be careful when I do this, is you can actually use it as kind of a scooping or a carving tool. So I'm going to go ahead and see what I've got underneath here. And like I said, the spoon right now is pretty hot. But you can see it makes a nice wide line. Cut right in there. This is too wide for me to probably fill well with the oil stick, but I could go in there with encaustic medium for intarsia, paint over it, fuse it lightly, and then scrape to make it cleaner. Or I could just go ahead and maintain the lines that I've put in there. While I'm doing it. So there you can see, kind of having to go over it more than once, but I can get a really nice carved line with the spoon. And there you can see the paint underneath as well. Again, it would be a little bit more exciting if I had several layers of variable colors, things that contrasted a little bit more, maybe layers of clear encaustic medium in between each layer, and that way revealing what's underneath without changing the layer underneath it. We'll see if any of this sticks. You'll see in my other video that I use another kind of encaustic oil stick, RNF oil stick, that's transparent, and that you can put down before you add your oil stick so that it comes off a little bit better. And this might just wipe all of it out. Let's just see. Yeah, I'm not getting any or much fill in there. Let's see if we can't make a little bit of a deeper texture with the spoon. I'm going to try holding it for a little longer. I might get bigger potholes in my paint. So maybe the trick here is to just not fill and keep them more as visual interest. And you can see now I'm trying to do it over the contrasting color and getting some really nice effects there. And I can do it multiple times before I have to heat again. So I think I would rather use it that way than by filling it with the, let's do it over the texture here. That's pretty cool. I like that. So I think in the future, rather than trying to fill the texture that I'm creating with the spoon, that I would just go ahead and create that texture over contrasting color and maybe over other color and texture that I've created. I like that effect. It's pretty neat. So that takes us to the fork. The fork is a pretty obvious choice for creating texture. We've got these great tines, and I don't know that there's much of a difference between the big fork or the little fork, other than it appears that the little fork has smaller tines. We'll go ahead, for the sake of experimenting, using both of the forks. And my wax is already pretty warm because of the stuff I was doing with the spoon. So I'm going to go ahead and just create some almost grassy-like texture here. So this is what I'm getting with, I'm trying to get down to some of that deeper surface area as well. It can carve down really nicely to other levels or just create line on your top surface area. Now I'm going to go ahead and carve with the bigger one and see if I get anything different. The bigger one is slightly easier to use, I guess, because I can hold on closer to the tines themselves. It feels like it fits my hand a little better, almost like a pencil. And so I guess I would prefer the big one over the small one. And but either works, and it appears that, from my point of view, and you tell me what you think, it appears that those lines are very similar in size. There might be a slight difference, and maybe you could find different forks that have different sized tines. Sorry, my nose itches. Okay, so let's go ahead and fill those lines with oil stick. Should be able to get really great features with the encaustic oil stick. With the oil stick, what I tend to do is I rub against the line first to fill it, and then I rub with the line to spread it. So that is my tendency when I go to fill. I could potentially take the stick and just rub it over the surface and get some ink on there, or not ink, but oil stick, and that does the trick. But in this case, because there's just a little portion here that needs to be filled, I'm just going ahead and going to use my finger. You can find oil sticks at any art store, Dick Lick, I Love Artists and Craftsmen. You can buy them at R&F, and they cost different depending on their size and color. Oh, I got a little bit of the skin on there. Sometimes you can get some of the encaustic oil stick off of the skin as well, so I tend not to throw those away right away. But you don't want to end up with that on your painting, so we're going to take that off. Like even those areas that were only lightly touched by the fork also filled with oil stick, so it creates almost a shadow of the line that I created right here. In between those darker lines are those shadow lines, so I really like that. I like what I got with the spoon. I like that I wanted to go that step further and go outside of the lines of creating texture and filling it, and just working with the paint itself and allowing the lower layers to come out after putting down a hot spoon. I think in the future I would definitely use that process. A fork works really nicely to put down 4 lines at a time, equal distance. It beats using the X-Acto knife over and over again. And then the knife, of course. I've used the plastic knife before, but I didn't want to experiment using the metal knife. Like I said, I kind of prefer the plastic one to the metal one, but these are all really great choices for creating texture and carving into your encaustic medium. You don't have to buy expensive tools. You don't have to go searching very far. Just look in your silverware drawer. I hope that you will give me a thumbs up
leave a comment, ask a question, and hit that subscribe button. I said subscribe this time. I'm so proud of myself. Thanks so much for coming. I appreciate you being here. We'll see you soon. Bye.